All right, good morning, everybody. It is the first Monday of March. I cannot believe that we're already in the last month of the first quarter of 2024. Um, Although my allergies have told me that March is coming for some time now. It's pretty, uh, it's oak season, and that's like the worst thing. I'm allergic to everything, and oak is the worst. So
Mm.
I'm really excited today to have Dr. Ken Hartman, founder and president of Our Community Salutes, with us. I just learned, well, actually, I didn't just learn, we met in Philadelphia. I think it was late 2020 or early
Hmm.
2021, late 2020. And I was fascinated by the concept of Our Community Salutes, and then I'm happy that I was reunited with you and in the organization here recently in Tampa. So, Ken, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about you, your military background, and where you are today?
Sure. Well, my military background is not nearly as fascinating as yours, First Sergeant, but a long time ago, back in 1977, about 2 years after the draft ended, I walked into a recruiter's office and I signed up. I went the ROTC route and got my commission through ROTC again a long time ago, and then proceeded from 1980 to 1990 to serve in a reserve capacity. During those 10 years. While I was sorry about that. Sorry about that. Um,
Here, my dogs will be barking anytime soon.
Someone's at the door, and I'll just ignore it for now, but it probably won't go away. But I'll keep flying going through it. Stand by for a second. Let me put
Okay.
you up real quick.
Okay.
Oh, life is wonderful when you've got a plumbing issue and you have plumbers coming in and out of your house to deal with that. So let me forge on one sec. Let me just get a dog because that's not.
So, what Ken doesn't know is that we are an organization of dog lovers, and we have dogs.
I
And
am back now.
yeah,
Not that
we
the
are an
plumber had
organization
gone
of
away,
dog
but
lovers. So we get dogs and knocks on the door all the time, 9
well,
a.m. on Monday morning.
he should be good. But getting back to our community suit, so in 2009, after military, actually, while I was in the military, I was also pursuing my graduate degrees and went into higher education, where I was a professor and then eventually became an administrator. But the real turning point was for me was in 2009 when I joined our local school board and discovered that we were doing nothing to recognize the kids who were graduating from our school district and who were enlisting in the military. And that's when I started our community salutes, not knowing, how I was going to bring the community together around these young people, because the ROTC kids get recognized, and certainly kids going off the academies get recognized, but I wanted to make sure the kids in 2009, many of them were going off to war, were getting recognized for their decision to enlist both active duty guard and reserves. So we had our first dinner in 2009 for all the kids in our county here and their moms and dads, and we brought the recruiters together. It was a truly amazing event. The Army did a story on us 4 months later, and then the word started growing out about what we were doing. And we went from one event on 2009, and over the course of the last 16 years, we've gone from 2 events to 20 events, to 30 events, to 50 events, to 60 events, to 70 events all over the country. And bottom line is, we've honored over 250,000 high school seniors who have made the selfish decision to put their country before themselves and enlist in the military. So it's been a hell of a ride, and we're only, in mid stride right now.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I didn't enlist in the Army right out of high school. I went to college first, but in my small Midwestern town, Camdenton, Missouri, Camdenton High School is where I graduated from high school, and we only had one person in our, I think it was 167 or 169 people in my graduating class that went into the military. And it was they announced it when, he was walking across the stage, but it wasn't celebrated. Like you said, the scholarships and things like that. And we didn't even have anybody going into the academies from my class. So that's part of the reason why I wore my first sergeant hat today, because
Nice.
I think it was very appropriate and so appreciative of what you're doing. So can you tell us a little bit about Community Salute? What is the ceremony?
Yeah.
How does it work? Um, just to run a show, I
So,
guess.
yeah, it is a pretty simple mission, right? Recognize and honor these kids. So what we do is we work with, we'll have somewhere around 50 events across the country, including our one in Tampa on April 24th at the T. Pippin Center. I think that's how it's pronounced, T.
Yep.
Pippin
Tea
Center.
Pippin.
Yeah. So we work, we bring the recruiters from each of the services, including the National Guard, in together for a series of planning meetings. We then provide them with the invitation and materials. They then bring the enlistee and their moms and dads or grandpa, whatever happens, family members to these events. We don't charge anybody anything to come to these events. We also work with the veterans organizations to try and get the veterans to attend these events as well. At least one or two veterans per VSO in their community, because we really want to promote veterans organizations. We also want to promote other services like the USO and Red Cross in the event. So the ceremony itself runs about 2 hours. It's a lot of pomp and circumstance, a lot of amazing speakers, very high-ranking NCOs and GOs that will be there. And then after the speeches are done, the individual high school senior, in this case, class of 2024, their name is read off, and they come across the stage and get a whole host of gifts and presents from us and from others for their decision to enlist. In some respects, people call it similar to what D1 athletes, high school athletes get. They get their signing day. Well, this is the signing day for the young men and women who are making that decision to serve our country. So all in all, about 2 hours long, a lot of music, a lot of great conversation, and just a lot of a lot of camaraderie that goes on during those 2 hour period of time.
That's great. And so there's the actual ceremony for those that enlisted, right out of high or going into the military, enlisted right out of high school. There's also a gala, right?
Correct. So prior to the start of the actual event, we'll have what we call Community Expo. So that's where we invite businesses who help us to support this event, because we don't ask for it, nor do we want any federal money to pay for this. We really want to make this a community event. So businesses and colleges and others who want to thank and also talk to these young families about their products and services or educational opportunities, that gives them an opportunity to acquire, purchase a table, and they can have a table there to talk to people who are at that event. So that runs about an hour or so before the actual. So as you register, you'll come into that community fair, and it's critically important that they meet the business. I mean, I'm sure you know this for Sergeant, but most people don't. That 75% of the young men and women who enlist in the military are only going to serve for 4 years, and they're getting out. Unlike you, most don't stay in that long. And unfortunately, today, those 4 years go by just like that. And half of them are ending up in unemployment. So it's critically important for businesses in Tampa and in the other locations we're doing this to come out, to be there, to talk to these moms and dads, these young people about the fact that they want to hire veterans before they leave. Because if they don't feel like anybody cared about them when they left, for example, Tampa, they're not coming back.
Yeah, the majority of those that leave service don't go back to their hometown, whether it's 4 years or 24 years. Generally, they stay right where they got out of the military or their favorite assignment, right?
Exactly.
That they like the most. I had a question. Mm, Oh,
It's the
I just lost.
pollen
I
in
just
the
lost
air.
your
I
thought.
thought you don't have pollen in Florida. Everybody moves to Florida because you get away from that stuff.
No, my car is green. I try to
Oh,
take, yeah, it's horrible. So have you did surveys or engaged with those that that you celebrated
Oh yeah,
throughout their
well,
service or
two
after?
things. Two things. So everybody who wants to come to our event will need to go to our website at ocsusa.org. That's ocsusa.org, and they'll see all the events across the country, including the three that are in Florida: Tampa, Orlando, and the Upper Peninsula or the Pensacola area that we're doing the ceremony this year. And they can register there on the event. And then after they register, they'll get a couple emails, one reminding them of the event, and then one afterwards asking to evaluate the event. But we did a survey a couple years ago of the moms and dads who came to our event, and we asked them, "What do you wish you would have known prior to your son or daughter going and enlisting in the military?" And as a result of that survey, we're building out a platform called OCS, our community salutes OCS Connect, which is going to be an online resource for the parents and guardians of these new enlistees so they understand how they should be helping their son or daughter with things such as their first paycheck, or how do you get the maximum amount of college credit out of your military experience when you want to go to school? What is a joint service transcript, for example? So we're building out these modules with the help of a amazing woman who's now on our team, who has three sons who enlisted in the Air Force. They're currently serving, actually. And so we're really excited about OCS Connect. And again, more information is on our website at ocsusa.org. Also on that website, because you may want, folks may be listening today thinking, well, how can I can't come to the ceremony, but how can I how can I make sure that these kids understand that I support their decision to serve? And there's a real easy way on our website at ocsusa.org. There is a virtual thank you card that they can sign. And our goal is to get 250,000 Americans to sign that virtual thank you card by the 4th of July. So we just launched that. And it's a very easy way. If you leave, less than 25-word statement about your things, and we're going to be presenting that information to them on a automatic routine basis. So it's another way. Again, as you know, unfortunately, less than 16% of young people today have any interest in serving our country. And while it's not for everybody, there are a lot of people out there who think that it might be for them, but they're getting scared away because of commercials that they may see on TV or things that people may be saying. And so what we're trying to do, community by community, in Tampa be an example of that, is bring the community together around these young people to celebrate their decision, and then provide the resources necessary so as they're going in and coming out, they know what's available in their hometown.
Wonderful. Yeah, when I enlisted, my story is uh, of, of how and why I enlisted is really quite funny. I was sitting out a semester in college to save money to transfer from a private university to a state college, and went back to Bolivar, Missouri to be the roommate of one of my friends who needed a roommate, and they gave me my waitressing job back at Western Sizzlin'.
Hmm.
And after work one night, I sitting on my couch eating Domino's pizza, and people have heard me tell this story. Like I remember every detail about the room, the furniture, the kind of pizza I was eating, pepperoni, mushrooms, and black olives, watching Private Benjamin with Goldie Hawn. And that's when I got the itch to enlist in the army. And not that I was so naive to think that it was anything going to be anything like the movie, the comedy, but something about it resonated with me. And I called my dad the next day, and he was like, all right, well, let's find you a recruiter. And the recruiter didn't, well, he wasn't that he did a bad job, but he didn't know anything about my MOS, or, I was told I was coming home after basic training because of the length of my AIT. And I wasn't going to Morse code school because I was a non-Morse interceptor analyst.
Hmm.
And I didn't get to come home after basic training, and I went to Morse code training up in Fort Devens, Massachusetts. So, yeah, it was kind of a rocky road because I was like, wait a minute, this is not what I was told was gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
happen. So, yeah, I didn't have and because I was in college, none of my college friends really kind of understood, or they just didn't have any experience with those military service. So I think I think it's wonderful. It is something. to be celebrated, serving your country and making that decision at such a young age. And, you at the beginning said that your service was not as exciting, as mine. But, when you think about the fact that you went into the military in 77 after Vietnam, after the fall of Vietnam, and how the soldiers were received coming back, from that war. I mean, that's just as amazing and admirable as, somebody who spent 20 plus years in the army and went into the army watching Goldie Hawn and Private Benjamin.
Well, you mentioned that was your pivot point in which to make that decision. My pivot point goes back. Actually, let's see, have here. My pivot point goes back to. I don't have it here. Oh, here it is.
Oh, puppy.
My pivot point goes back to my family. My father and grandparents were all Holocaust survivors, and this is actually my grandmother's Nazi passport. Um,
Wow.
and my father's is in the Holocaust Museum. I don't have that, but this is their passport. And it was a GI who liberated my father and grandparents. So mine goes back to more, about the stories of the impact that young men and women during World War II made. I mean, if it wasn't for, in this case, a sailor, I wouldn't be here right now. And so everybody's got that pivot point. Everybody's got that reason for serving. And unfortunately, today the young kids don't seem to have that pivot point. They don't seem that the idea of serving others is something that's very foreign to them. And it's at the core of our republic. And so we've got to get that back community by community. And we just we're just playing a small part in that.
I think it's amazing. I appreciate it. And it sounds like, and not surprising, that parents and those enlistees appreciate it. So, what is the website again?
So it's
Tell our
real
audience how to
simple.
come.
It's ocsusa.org, Oscar Charlie Sierra USA.org. And there you'll see our 2024 ceremony. You'll see lots of stuff, but our 2024 ceremonies, you click on that. It'll take you to obviously the states. Where I believe we're in 19 or 20 states, plus Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Islands this year. So you'll see the states, and then click on the one closest to you, and that's where you can register for that event.
Great. And because 9 o'clock on Monday morning, we don't have a whole lot of live viewers. This is something Rosie and I started it in 2020 to stay connected, and we just kind of stuck with it. And when everybody started going back to work, they'll go back and view it. So what we do is put all of the information in the chat of this video on our Facebook page, so that they'll be able to reach out and participate and
Right.
engage. Is there um, do you guys have like social media, Facebook,
We
Instagram, that
do,
kind of
yeah.
stuff?
We have all of
Mhm.
that, and we
Okay,
welcome people to go and post their comments or thoughts or suggestions there. They can also email me directly, and my email is just Ken Ken at ocsusa.org. That's Ken at ocsusa.org. If they want to participate, they can go to the website and sign up. If their company would like to exhibit at the event, they can email me directly for more information on that. Because we do need, this will be our second event in Tampa. And last year, I think we had somewhere around 500 people. So we're anticipating at least that for this event, perhaps even more. But, again, it's the veteran community that has to be there to welcome these young people in. When they see people like yourself, their moms and dads, they finally get to understand the journey that their son or daughter is going to be on. So without the veterans there, it's a big black hole that many of them, their son or daughters are going into, and it's very scary. So again, I encourage all of your friends and family and veterans in that community to please come out and join us on the 24th of April.
or definitely push out the information and invites and encourage the community to participate and attend. Well, thank you, Ken, for joining us. I know 9 o'clock Monday morning when you've got plumbers and dogs and all the things. It's tough.
That's my executive officer over there. He's resting right now.
It's wonderful. Um, so, like I said, we'll put everything in the chat. What we
Right.
have going on at Action Zone, we have a couple of workshops coming up. We've got pop-up, uh, like a expert by April Caldwell, founder of Faven. We are actively taking applications for our next cohort. It will be in person starting April 6th. So get those applications in, make an appointment to speak with me and Rosie if you're interested and you have questions. We will be hosting Q&As during the week. Again, of course, like we always do, a couple of weeks heading into that. So actually, it'll probably be starting next week. So happy March. Thank you, Ken, and everybody have a great week.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.